Remember to speak loudly so the microphone picks up your voices.
Yes, ma'am.
Janet's gonna
The Park Board of the City of Gun Barrel City, Texas will meet in a regular meeting in City Hall Council Chambers located at 1716 West Main Street, Gun Barrel City, Texas on Monday, August 11th, 2025 at 4:00 p.m. This meeting is called to order. Roll call to my right.
Shelby present.
Brady present.
Desitel present.
Damiano present. We have a quorum. New business, 3A, consider and take action to approve the July 14th, 2025 meeting minutes. Ms. Elga?
Yes, I move, unless there's any discussion or questions, I move to approve the minutes from July 14th.
Shelby seconds.
All approve, say aye.
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 Okay. 3B, update on local park grants. Brady?
So the Texas Estates one we were going after, it needed a resolution, and we didn't have time to get a resolution before it was due. So it never got submitted. We started looking into a couple other ones. Anything with the tennis association, we can't do because if it has pickleball with it, they don't want it.
Okay.
So we've looked at a couple of those, but it seems like anything tennis association is a no-go.
Okay.
So right now, kind of the best looking one we've seen is maybe if we could get the Lowe's. Well, we're going to continue with the Texas Parks one. We got to get a resolution. We got to get a couple more things for it.
Okay.
But then Lowe's, they've got a community outreach project that kind of seems like the next best one to go for.
So I know we've been working on this for several months. What should we have done differently?
We should have gotten a resolution sooner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we just need to make sure there are some required documents.
Yeah.
Do that really early in the process.
Yeah.
Right.
Some of that stuff council has to approve, and a resolution is one, and the reason is because they have matching funding. So
Okay.
anything that has a lot of grants have a resolution. It never occurred to me,
Yeah.
I never even thought about it. But there were a lot of red starred items on there we didn't necessarily have.
Okay.
Like a property condition index and a couple of other things. Now, I'm not sure because we were renovating something, if that, I know y'all want to call them, but maybe as we start the process, and something I need to pay closer attention to too, is as we start the process, where's the red starred things that that aren't really negotiable with them, so that we can get that done. And a lot of grants, our FLOC grant that we just got had to have a resolution from council, right? So,
Right. Okay.
not
So,
all of them, but some of them.
so if we had all the documents, could we have submitted that, like, I don't know, a couple of months early, or do you have, or is it you have to wait until right before a deadline or something?
No,
I'm just
when
curious.
the grant opens, you can submit until a set date.
Okay.
They won't take it after,
Okay.
and they won't take it without all their required stuff. We
Right,
ran into
right.
that with FLOC.
Yeah.
FLOC approached us and said, hey, we have this grant, but you have to have it turned in by this date, and we had just had a council meeting. And you have to have a resolution. We're like, we can't do that, right? That's not
Right.
even an option for us. And so, but we were able to, but Texas Parks and Wildlife has very strict deadlines. So sometimes we have a little wiggle room depending on the grant, but
Sure.
as long as we know what you have to haves are beforehand, it's
Yeah.
easy to get it through council.
Yeah.
Really, for that grant was the match part, right? Because they don't want you guys or me even committing funds from the city that council hasn't already approved. And so
Okay.
sometimes when there's a match, some of them, they don't even, like with the FLOC grant, the match was like $5,000 out of $18,000, but they still wanted to know that council knew, and that's how they do that, is through that resolution of, hey, we know we're applying for a grant,
Right.
we know, and the good thing is we didn't make it, but it gives us time to strengthen it. They have more grants. They'll have this same grant next year.
Okay.
The thing about Parks and Wildlife is very, very few cities get it on the first dip. So it gives us some time to really strengthen it, make sure we have all the boxes, because it is a scored based grant. So do you have this? Do you have this? And that's the first thing they check, right? And if you don't, they just set it to the side and keep going. They used to review them for you and then give you some feedback after the process. I think they just probably get too many grants after they lost most of their funding. I don't know if you know this, but Texas Parks and Wildlife is funded through the sports tax. And so several years ago, maybe 10 years ago, Texas Parks and Wildlife, the governor started taking that sporting goods tax and applying it to other things where there were budget shortfalls. And Texas Parks and Wildlife started slowly but surely losing money. And so all the Parks and Rec agencies and all the, groups around the state threw a fit because Parks and Wildlife was slowly but surely losing money and they were having to cut staff. At Parks, either to nothing. And so then they got back up and geared back up and they redid their grant program. And so now they don't do all that anymore. But we could probably, kind of just rehome that grant.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Good.
But I think it'll be springtime before that one opens back up.
Okay, in the spring? Okay.
Yeah, but so it's just different times of year, different ones are going.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
the Lowe's is year round. But yeah, they all vary.
Sure.
what else?
Is the resolution itself approving the matching funds?
It's basically what it does.
Okay.
The resolution says we are aware your staff is applying for this
Okay.
and we are willing to contribute whatever is required,
Yeah.
right? And we will continue the long-term maintenance on that project once it's done.
Okay.
That's really what there's a bunch of whereases in there, but it all boils down to, we know they're applying, we agree to give the money the match, and C, we will take on the long-term maintenance of that asset once it's done.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay. All righty. Thank you. 3C, July Fest post update. Shelby.
All right, so Kid Zone was fun. I think going with the non-water didn't hurt us at all. Everybody seemed to have a good time without the water slides. We had a breeze, but it was hot. But everybody was happy. We were definitely more crowded this year than we were last year, and I think a lot of that is probably the ticket price. I think going down to $5 a ticket was a good
That
idea.
helped.
I don't know that we made more money, as a result, but, we served more people and it was more fun as far as that part goes. I can say that, from the folks coming in the gate, the over-under was what drew them. There were teenagers mainly just coming up there, okay, I want to get on that. But every single thing we had up there stayed pretty busy. I mean, there was a line at the over-under and at the obstacle course. The bounce house was, the bounce house was over capacity most of the night. They told us to keep it to 6, and I think we had as many as 13 or 14 at some points. So I think all of that was good. I know I sold, I don't know, because I lost my note. I think I sold 41 tickets there, but I would say more than what I sold was coming in already with wristbands. I think being able to, do we have a count?
I don't have one yet, but I'll get one. As soon as I have it from Mickey, I will. We wrapped that up and started started presenting budget to council. We've been working on budget since March, but so I don't have a final count yet, but we will get that from her. As soon as I have it, I'll send it there.
So I think being able to do that at the front gate was great, because
For those of you
I'll bet you it was more, so we probably had about 100.
Right.
For those of you that don't know, at the last minute, I had some can we's. We call them the neat, and one of them was, why can't we sell bracelets, right? If I never carry cash, so we have to factor in me as a grandparent that never had, I wouldn't have had $5, I wouldn't have been able to, I probably could have borrowed $5 from somebody, but I just said, hey, if they come up and they want to pay with a credit card, why not say, hey, got some kiddos with you, I can go ahead and sell you wristbands at $5 a piece. If they never use it, they never use it, but now it's a process that we don't have to do that there.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many they sold there, so.
Yeah.
So I made a list of kind of lessons learned. One of them was, we kind of started off with 7 volunteers from the city park side, but for more than half of it, there were really just 3 of us because people were getting pulled in other ways. Probably the real minimum we had was 4. The bouncing board told us they wanted 3 people on the rides. We needed 1 at the table, and it was fine. But I do think if anything significant had happened, we would have felt very short-staffed to go try to handle something.
So they didn't provide staff for
Well,
the,
they had staff, but then the obstacle course, they said we needed 2 people in the obstacle course, 1 in the bounce house. So So that plus the table was really 4 people at a minimum, and we had 3.
They
Yeah.
had 2 staff, but the staff they had were they were running the
Yeah.
spinning machine, and then the other one was
Velcro wall.
peeling people off the Velcro wall.
Yeah.
So they were,
It was absolutely
That's
a job
hilarious.
that we didn't want.
yeah,
That's
So
funny.
they were doing the hardest stuff.
yeah.
Sure.
But
They
we,
were
you know,
constantly busy.
and I think it was a different year as far as that goes. But we probably want to keep in mind
Sure.
trying to have the number. The bounce house was going over, and in my mind, the bounce houses are the cheapest ones. I think we ought to have 2 and make 1 for the littles only, because we had a lot of teens in there and all that kind of stuff. And it'd be nice to have at least something that's littles
Just
only.
for the little, yeah, that's neat.
There was a point in time a kid needed a Band-Aid and we could not find one. I went and found a mom.
Oh my
And that was I felt a little embarrassed by that. So having a first aid kit just was
Yeah,
something there.
that's a good idea.
And it was no kind of emergency, but it was kind of like
Thank goodness.
that sounds like something I ought to be able to supply. The lights, we either need to end earlier, I think, or just be able to turn off the lights at the end. And I prefer the second. I mean, somehow the lights ended up getting turned on this time, and they were able to turn them off. I think we just shut it at the timer. But by the time we were closing down at 9, I needed a flashlight to make sure there weren't any kids in the bounce house. And then bounce them more, had to
Right.
tear everything down and roll it up like
Yeah.
that. So I think we can keep them on. I'm sure we know there's a way to turn off the battery.
Yeah, I don't know when they turn them off.
Well, what I was told, because I hit up David during it to go, they're coming on at dusk, right? Because
Yeah.
it felt like
Yeah,
it was, and he
should've.
goes, no, they can't be on because of the fireworks.
Fireworks
If
don't have
they- if
enough
they-
time long.
He said if they come on, they will stay on till 1 a.m. It's
Yeah.
like, well, they didn't last year.
No, okay, okay.
So
Hopefully I can have a newspaper.
and Mike kind of came by and said, I can turn on the baseball lights for you, but we can't turn these on.
Okay,
It's like,
so we just
okay.
need an easy answer to that. I got it.
And it's
Yeah.
just, I want to plan ahead next year
There's
so
gotta
that
be
we
a
know
breaker in
that's
there
okay.
somewhere.
Oh, there is. Somebody turned them on. Imagine it was bouncing more, but I'm
Yeah.
not trying to report anything. It wasn't me.
No, yeah.
But somebody did turn them on and they came around and they were able to turn them off. So it can be done.
I looked up at some point and I was like, why are the lights off?
Yeah.
I mean, it was way before, I get it, right? When the last thing you want when fireworks are shooting across the sky is the tennis court lights in between,
Oh,
right?
for
Because it was
sure.
right behind
Right.
it. But I knew we could turn them off, so I wasn't stressed about
Yeah.
it at all. I knew there had to be a breaker. Like even though there's buttons and not everybody can turn a breaker off, I had a lot of people there
Yeah,
with
yeah.
a key to the magic closet. So
right. So I want to
Good.
pre-plan that because that
Yeah.
stressed me out a little. And that's kind of it on the lessons learned. Do you have anything you want to add?
No, the lights, it was pretty
I
dark.
apologize. Yeah.
Wow.
The other thing I wanted to do, because I'm goofy, is I ended up picking out the cherry job because I sat at the table and sold tickets. Frank was trying to enforce the capacity in the bounce house and turning around and letting everybody start in the obstacle course, running the clock, all that kind of stuff. The guy was a referee, so I know he's not here, but for next year I bought him a referee hat, and a couple
Aw.
of flags, and a whistle.
That's
So that was
nice.
his trophy. Second thing was Foster was at the end of the obstacle course, which is safety, pole position, helping make sure when folks are on the other side. And he was in the part of the tennis courts that did not get one lick of sun the entire time. I tried to come and bring him a water every once in a while as I was sitting under my Easy Up in my chair. But so I got him a patriotic umbrella hat, red, white, and blue, and you can put that
That
on
is
for
so sweet.
sunburn.
I would love to have your notes. We have our wrap up. So volunteers at the bounce house area is something I can make a copy too if you want. It's something we had kind of already talked about. I think you started with some and then they wandered off. And then Janet got pulled and then we just lost a few that were there and never came back, I guess.
I really need to mention, and I'm horrible with it. Tasha and Craig were there for the first half.
Yeah.
Craig kind of needed to go. His back wasn't doing that great, and that was great.
Yeah.
That was great. But I know they needed some folks running
Yeah.
cars. It's just the
So
way it was.
just something we need to plan a little better next year.
Yeah.
It's not something we've ever used a ton of volunteers, but for Brooke, by the time Brooke got ready to do it, and we popped in there at the last minute and had, some friends that helped.
That's great.
bring people, and so that was great, but we do need to,
And I think at the beginning, we had plenty of volunteers at the beginning. It was just that they kept
Yeah,
getting
right
called
about-
for different things. So by the end, it was,
Yeah.
so we'll make sure next year we do
Yeah.
a better recruiting job earlier.
Mhm.
You know, we got everybody's shirts, so everybody would be a little visible, and, you know,
that was
so,
nice.
Yeah,
I think that was a good touch.
just makes it easy to know who to go to, but first aid is great, that's a great question that we need to plan ahead for.
It is. Okay. And it started at 4, did y'all open it up at 4?
It opened at 5.
Oh, at
Four-
5?
Four
Okay.
was kind of still set up.
Yeah,
And it
okay.
opened slightly late. It was funny, they started up the over-under machine, I can't remember what they really called it.
Yeah,
But it was running, I kept going, man, that seems fast.
yeah,
And it was. They ended up taking that entire box out. They had a second box. So they were replacing it because they were trying to get it adjusted. Then it was running a lot slower. But to begin with, it's like, there's no way I can do that.
Oh, the meltdown?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it was spinning pretty fast to begin
Oh,
with.
that's
Whoa.
Any issues with bouncing more?
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
No,
good,
no.
good, good, okay.
So, just curiosity, was that a preference over the year before with the wet inflatables? Which one would you do again next year?
I don't know. I mean, if we do the wet stuff again, we definitely want to handle the drainage better. So
Yeah.
that part was certainly.
Yeah.
I would do dry again.
The dry? Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
Just, it wasn't, no mess with water. We
Yeah.
didn't, wasn't thinking about, is it gonna be running this way? Is it running into the electrical cords? That wasn't
Yeah.
a thought. And I mean, we did have a lot more people, and so
Yeah,
it was harder to manage maybe a little bit, but, I guess that's the point of it, right? Get them
Yeah.
in there to have fun.
yeah, yeah. Did anyone take pictures of the setup and everything?
Bert probably has pictures.
Okay.
We had a photographer there, so I'm
Yeah.
sure there's
Yeah.
pictures.
yeah, monitors.
Monitor
somebody
put
through,
some out.
Somebody else was through. I took like just one white
They
screen.
had called Brooke the day before and said, where do you want everything? And she said, look, this is what you do for a living. Here's how much space you have figured out.
Mm-hmm.
And they sent her back a drawing and said, is this okay? And we were like, sure. And the guy showed up and set it all
Yeah.
That's
up. But,
fantastic.
I mean, didn't really, it was a little nicer than us having to be there and manage like
Yeah.
the grass and the pudding and all that stuff. So,
Yeah.
And they loaded out that night, I guess in the dark. Good Lord, I feel
Wow.
horrible. And were gone by the time fireworks started. I think they were gone quick.
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
boys, I mean, that's not their first. They just
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
and I was checking with them because I was going to lock the gate heading into the, it's like, you guys want to go to the festival or y'all leaving? I go, oh, we're leaving. So, I think their day had been long enough.
And it was worth the money to have those couple of extra staff there.
Oh, for sure.
And, they really know what to do. I'm glad when it all started. I was very glad we had them there because the wind was blowing 90 miles an hour, and I had some concerns about there's a wind limit, but
That
they won't
night?
put them up.
That night?
That like all day.
Oh, I didn't, okay.
It was very windy.
Huh,
And so I had some concerns about, are we close to the wind limit, even up into fireworks, I was worried
Yeah.
about the wind limit. But they ran to the car and got some more bounce houses, they went to get something to eat, I think, and when they came back, they went to the car and got a few more about the truck and grabbed some more bounce houses, and some more sandbags, and off they went.
goodness. Not their first rodeo.
It was not, no.
So, okay, well, that was interesting, thank you. I hate that I didn't get to see it.
It was fun.
Okay.
Couldn't ask for better weather. It was hot, but it was extremely windy
Yeah.
and beautiful, so.
Yeah.
Okay, 3D, consider and take action on FY 2025 Park Board budget purchases. And I forgot my piece of paper that had the things on it, but Gilbert and I and Angie met about a week ago and went over the items that was suggested that we could do to spend the $7,000 that is left that we need to spend by October 1st. And we chose about 4 different items. And we'd like to run that by y'all and make sure you're okay with it too. And then we'll take a vote.
So I just knew y'all wanted to talk about that at this meeting and make some decisions, so I will go and start that process tomorrow. Hopefully y'all saw my email with benches. I just went out and was like,
Yeah.
okay, get a list,
Yeah.
and then that gives y'all something to discuss, so. That wasn't in any way daring y'all one way or the other, you do what you want, but it was just kind of and then we even came up with some additional ones when Gilbert and Monica met, but just some things I know the park needs, and I mentioned to them, I don't think ever your money was intended, I wasn't here when that was allocated, but I don't think it was ever intended to just be maintenance, right? I think there's a difference in new disc golf signs and trying to maintain something that's broken in the old signs, right?
Yeah.
But like your money wasn't intended to rework deferred maintenance on a sand volleyball court. That comes out of our maintenance budget. So we kind of talked through what that might look like. But adding stuff is a great use of those dollars, and so
Yeah.
I don't have my paper with the list of what we're going, what we just, Gilbert, what we decided on. Do you have that, Gilbert?
I don't have the paper, but I know it was,
The Perry,
yeah,
Weather.
putting the money towards the Perry, the lightning detection, weather detection system,
yeah,
which, really that price that was there, the 5K, it's a subscription, so it's 5K a year. One of the things that I asked Angie about when we met was if we do that, that's not us signing up
Yeah.
for us to spend 5K a year.
but it's not.
And it's not. It's something that is needed, but budget wasn't allocated for it at the moment, so that would be a way that we could get that system in sooner. I will say I reached out to Frank. I know Frank had sticker shock. He's been in discussions. He has kind of recommended some alternatives, but my understanding is that that's really kind of a non-starter because through experience and research that the city had already done, they know what they want. They just have to figure out how to pay for it, and we're one option for paying for it.
there's only two ways to detect lightning. So the standard systems that have been around my entire career measure static electricity in the field. And they go from the size of this little hand carry that you keep at the field and somebody carries around when inclement weather is coming, to this kind of system that truly uses a program, a weather program to determine how far out is lightning and when do you really need to close the field. Cities across the country use a BoreGuard system. They're $6,000 or $8,000. They still make them. They're $6,000 or $8,000. You install it. They put it in the ground. They walk away, and it's there till it doesn't work anymore, and then you buy a new one. I talked to Brady with Perry Weather today because I was like, I want to make sure I have this right. I know I want to give the best information, and it is a subscription service, but it's bigger than just that. It will likely go on top of the concession stand or the fire station or the community center or a tower of some kind. But it's like users get access to, it will help us not only at the park, not just ball fields, but at the park itself, but also at our emergency operations center that will be a part of the community center because 10 users have access. We have a widget we can put on our website, on our Facebook, so that if they're going to be closed or if there's storms in the weather, it'll be able to tell you, hey, there's lightning this far out. And they use a specific lightning detection weather prediction system, right? They have those now. And so the systems are completely different. There are 100%, I could buy one outright for $6,000. It measures the static electricity in the air and it can be hit or miss. The bigger you get, the more predictable it is. The smaller ones on Amazon are right 3 out of 10 times. Something that mounts to the wall at $6,000 is right 8 out of 10 times. These guys, everybody kind of goes into it with I'm going to try it for a year. They have a 92% resubscription rate. People that have used it for a year that then sign up for a second year because of the cost, right? But there are, I sent everybody the thing. There's a lot of stuff they do. It also has a camera on it where we can actually be able to see, and so that will help. But it will notify me anywhere, right? So if I'm out, not only does it have an alarm system, it will notify 10 people of my choosing on their cell phone, we're about to have this issue, you need to clear the field. So, there's a little more to it, and yeah, I could buy a weather app for $90 a month and do the same thing. This is just targeted into that entire system with the widget, with their software that they have, that they kind of honed in doing this. So that's the Periweather. That's the reason that I have a lot of experience with this. I had Beauregard for 15 years of my career. I had it in 2 cities, and at a time it was the best in the business, right? But that whole static electricity thing has, with storms popping up like they pop out now, it's just not as reliable as it used to be.
Yeah, and I mean, we have so many people coming through there now. I went by there yesterday. I mean, there was 10 after 10 after 10 that set up. There was playing ball, and also I'm excited about that, to be
We're
able
looking
to.
at, how to do a food
help.
park out there, so there's that coming in the pipeline that we've got to talk about, and you just can't take chances, right? It's one life, we're $1 million
That's
in debt, and so
That's right.
they will sue the pants, even though we have a certain level of immunity because you chose to go to the park and you have to be an adult about using it, but
Yeah,
it will take its toll if it happens, and if we have a warning system in place, we don't have any issues with that, so many of our programs are unsupervised too, so.
yeah, and I feel like, yay for the park board to be able to provide that for the first year,
This would be super
at
cool,
least.
yeah.
So,
Another item that we were recommending was putting windscreens on the tennis courts. That, taking a look at what's out there, that would be like about $1,600 at the most to go all the way around, and it may be less than that based on pricing that we saw, and that would be a 6-foot windscreen. Actually, I'm having it's 10-foot fences, but the idea was kind of, they'll be off the ground a little bit, and I'd still like to leave the space open at the top in case we maybe sell sponsorship signs. That would be a location they could be. So the thought was that we could do that.
and there'll be a little space at the bottom too as well.
Yeah. And then we were, it actually may have been one, it's the bench. When we look kind of through the list, there's so much stuff that is too expensive or very expensive that kind of with the money that's left over, we could get 1, possibly 2 benches, kind of depending on how the pricing comes through.
Yeah.
And from Frank's input, I maybe want to add one more thing. He mentioned some stuff that's kind of maintenance items. We got a basketball goal that's broken and different types of maintenance thing that Angie has confirmed that'll come out of the city budget to do that sort of stuff. But he talked some about the dog parks, and he was worried about shade and water. And when I took a look at it, for one thing, there is water there. We've got auto dispensing water bowls in both parks. For humans, there's a water fountain on the men's side of the concession stand. So I kind of feel like water's there. There could always be more. But on shade, in both places, we've got a bench and a dugout, just because it's a ball field, and then another bench that's out in the field. Bench out in the field has absolutely no shade and no easy way to get it. But in the big dog park, the way it's situated, Eastern sun is coming in this side, and then it's got a roof over it. Then up at noon it's good. Western side's going to come in that side. I think maybe we want to put a screen around it as well. If we did the 3 sides, that would be a lot shadier in that one. The one that would be like a 6x30. It looks like they're about $40.
Okay, I just have to do some research. I didn't look, but I can do some research.
And the one that's in the small dog park is exactly the same kind of dugout, but I'm not sure it would do us any good because Eastern sun just goes straight into it. There's no way to shade that. Mm-hmm. And behind it, there's a pretty nice shade tree. So Western sun is kind of shaded anyway. So I'm not sure it does us any good there unless we just don't want it to look different. But I did think that could be a cheap way to make it a little more comfortable.
Talking about putting one of the windscreens up as like a sunshade?
Yeah, on the 3 sides.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's not the exact windscreen, but you kind of get the
Yeah.
We would actually probably scoot it up a little bit, so it's maybe 3 foot off the ground and then goes up 5 or 6 feet, however far it is. I think it's 6. And then you have room at the top still, but we could potentially see what size those are and maybe get some.
Yeah, the dugouts are 8 feet tall, and around the 3 sides is 20 feet. So,
That dugout does not have a roof over it though, right?
They do.
It's just, oh, they do have
yeah,
it.
they do have a roof. So there's, I was out there at 1 p.m. and it was shady under it, but
Yeah.
that's because I was out there at 1 p.m. But I do think that one, the one next to the concession stand is definitely got some sun that would come in most of the day. So that seems like
Yeah,
a cheap way to maybe add some comfort. And cheap enough, because I also think that if we do that, we pull out the money for the bench, for the screens. If there's not 5,000 left, that doesn't actually matter, I think, right? Because if we're a little short on the 5,000, you'll find that somewhere else. So that would be, I think,
And the benches run about 800,
about 800.
so.
Do we know where we put the benches?
That'll be the next fun thing to do, I think.
So someone, and I don't remember who, mentioned that they could probably use another bench around the dog park, but I'll have to go and look at that.
Frank had that on his list.
Is that where it got it? Okay.
But they do, I mean, there's 2 in each one.
Yeah,
So
okay.
there's 4 total for
Yeah.
the 2 dog parks. But could be,
But we want to get the same kind of bench that, is kind of going through the park anyway, so.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people, I haven't been at this dog park enough to see usage, like how do you use it, what time you get. I know early in the morning there's people there, I know after work there's people there. But like in my past life, everybody took chairs. They just had their camp chairs with them, so they
Yeah.
could sit kind of wherever they wanted.
Yeah,
Our dugouts never got used. As a matter of fact, we took all the benches out of our dugouts because nobody ever used them. And dogs would get in there and get to tussling because I haven't paid that close of attention. I didn't think about it, but
We used to go to the early morning one, which was always really tough on me because I'm not a morning person. But everybody was definitely sitting on the bench
no.
or walking around with the dogs. So and I don't know whether that crowd still shows up. They had a Facebook group, and I haven't really seen posting there. But
I don't know. I haven't paid that close of attention.
I went by there yesterday and I saw these colored tents and I thought, are they having a circus? I forgot about it. So I drove back there and I saw everybody had all their tents out there around the softball field.
They were probably having a tournament this weekend. I don't know.
Yeah. So what we have is the Perryweather system, which is about 5,000, and then we have the shades, the windscreens, and whatever's left on a bench or 2. So I think that's kind of what we came up with. So any questions? How do y'all feel about that?
Great idea.
Sounds good.
Okay. Yep. So.
So just need a motion and a vote, Monica, and then.
Yep.
Motion to approve the weather system, windscreens, and benches.
I second.
Okay. Vote to my right.
Shelby, yes.
Reed, yes.
Desatel, yes.
And Damiano, yes.
Okay, that's what I need. Easy peasy. I'll start that
Good.
process tomorrow.
It's exciting.
Excellent, yeah.
Very good.
You guys did a great job doing all the research and stuff.
Well, she started it, so.
She
And
cheered
don't
the ball.
She had a great list, so she really made it easy.
I want to make sure you got your money spent.
So,
And then that's cool stuff to get to do at the park.
Yeah.
You know, like that's kind of. I thought a lot about that conversation we had about what do I think the intent of the money was for. I don't think the intent of the money was to do maintenance.
Right,
Yeah, and my
right.
guys are going to, if we start having people that are interested in playing horseshoes again, we're going to go out and spend a lot of time and effort getting those ready. We just
Oh,
don't
yeah.
have people that use them at all right now.
Right,
So
right.
I have a lot of problems and that many hours and dollars, so I wanted to
Right.
dedicate that to the things people are using. So they're getting ready to start work on the trails. That'll be a big one coming up in the fall. They've worked on drainage. Now it has to settle and they have to kind of do some Hopefully it helps butterfly garden,
Mhm.
better redirect all that water that just washes them out. And then
Mm-hmm.
we redid the parking lot behind the amphitheater. That was one thing we did. We had that crushed asphalt, that recycled asphalt from Harbor Point, so that was what we did. And that's what it's for, right?
Yeah.
It's perfect for that, so we'll be able to start doing some of that stuff as well, so.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Okay. All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Question before,
Oh,
when is the chair, the big chair gonna be installed?
It is in process. It's drying out right now. It's already been built. And it is, we have gotten an artist that's gonna come in and draw and paint the chair. We're probably looking, I don't know, mid to end of September.
Cool.
Gotta let, it's a drying process right now, so.
Yeah, oh, neat,
Yeah.
yeah, I was curious about that,
Yeah,
so, great. Okay,
okay. All right, motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Second?
Thank you.
Gilbert?